So I think tonight I really want to talk about finding things to do with your family that's fun, right? One of the things that I have tried to tried to really do is to find things that my teenage boys will actually enjoy and that we can do together. I'm in that very blessed place where my teenage boys actually want to spend time with me, right? And so this is one of those things as parents, especially as our kids start to get older, it becomes more and more of a challenge to be a part of their lives, right? And so, let's talk a little bit about that after the intro here. Welcome to my journey of self-discovery, life balance, career success, and business creation. This podcast works to answer the question of how successful professionals like us stop drifting and get focused on keeping our careers and businesses growing rapidly while having a full, balanced, and vibrant life that we absolutely love. What we call the Third Power Life. And this is the Third Power Life podcast. So being the parent of teenagers is challenging, and to put it, mildly. One of the things that I have been able to do, haven't quite figured out how yet. Throughout my high school career, when I was in high school, I was never popular, right? I was the geek, I was the nerd, I was that smart kid over there that, just, I was never in the popular circles. Somehow, and I haven't quite figured out how yet, as soon as I do, I will let you know. I'm considered kind of cool to my son's friends, right? I think part of it is that I treat them like they're people, like they're adults. And, I listen to them and I don't just talk at them. I listen to what they're saying. I try to understand a little bit of the lingo and you know, the things that are cool. And and I intentionally don't use them, except on the times where I really want to make my sons cringe. And I remember having fun with them where I was using things that were intentionally no longer cool. Right, I'm gonna yeet that, and it was on fleek, and things that somebody my age has absolutely no purpose, no right to say, right? And but being aware enough of what's going on in their world to know that it's no longer cool, and yet by using it ironically makes you cool somehow. I don't get it, right? But the big thing that I will tell you is that, by treating, you know, my sons and their friends like they're adults, like they're people, and respecting their opinions and trying to understand their, their pronouns, right? Um, makes me a safe place for them. And and like I said, I am a safe place for them where they can come and they can be themselves, and they don't have to pretend to be something that the old people will accept, right? That, I think that's what makes it okay. Um, and so, what I try to do is I find things that are fun for me, that are also interesting and fun for my boys, right? I'm wearing the axe throwing shirt. We went axe throwing tonight. I am part of an axe throwing league. I think I've mentioned that on a podcast. There's something very therapeutic about throwing sharp objects. Um, but it's something that I do with my boys. The other thing is tomorrow night we will probably be going to play Magic the Gathering. Um, it's something that I've kind of had a passing interest in, because I'm into D&D and that kind of fantasy world. But I had never been a part of Magic the Gathering. I've never played it. When my kids were little, I did a little bit of Pokemon stuff, but it was not something that I wanted to really do. Um, but as my boys have gotten older, especially my elder son, he's really gotten into Magic the Gathering and watching the YouTube videos on good decks and the CDH and there's this spell and this, right, all of the stuff that prior to 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I would have been like, what? Right? But I got into it as well to, have something in common, right? And so now my 17-year-old will come and talk to me excitedly about a new card that he has or a new deck that he wants to build, or, right? I found something that was interesting in his world and made it interesting in mine. And I think that's the real key to connecting with our children as they get older, is to genuinely, it can't just be for fun, oh yeah, I'm interested in that, right? It has to be a genuine interest, and find something that they really like that you can also really like, and join it in a fun thing. I have to say that my younger son enjoys the Magic. I don't think it's his real passion, right? He really likes the driving simulators and the other things. So, so there's still that, there hasn't been that deep connection yet, but that's where I'm working towards, because I want to be a confidant. I want to be somebody that they know they can come to talk about things beyond just this interest, right? Beyond just, magic cards, right? That's the entryway. That's the doorway to, I'm willing to accept you for who you are. I'm willing to take interest in what you have an interest in. And now, because of that bridge, we can have conversations that are more than that superficial kind of thing, right? And it's because I have treated them like people, right? Like adults, that I'm willing to listen to you and listen to what, you're interested in, without it being, it's a parent teaching moment, right? Um, that I can have that, not so much just like a friendship, right? Because, a lot of times you'll have, we'll try to be friends with our children and you lose that parental role. But I'm honestly, sincerely interested in something that you're interested in. It gives us a connection. And now that parental role has much more weight than it would without, having a connection. I want them to respect me, but before they will respect me, I must respect them. And that's a real challenge for a lot of parents, because when they're young, right, they're going to respect you because you're their parents. That's it. That's all you need. That's the only necessary requirement. You're their parent, therefore they must respect you. And that works up until about 12 or 13. And after that point, after the tween years, just because you're their parent does not mean that they're going to respect you, right? As painful as that is, and as much as we, will try to exert our control, the reality is that we need to, there has to be reciprocation in the amount that we respect each other for them to really listen. And that's really challenging, especially for people who grew up in a very strict and because I'm your mother, this is the way it's going to be, or because I'm your father, this is the way it's going to be. The reality is that when they hit their teens, especially after 15, that's not enough anymore, right? It should be, but the reality is it probably not. So we have to meet them where they are and connect with them and have the common interests. That's why I push so hard on doing the things with my boys, is I want to have that friendship level connection, right? That, I'm respecting you for who you are. And then I can add on to that the parental relationship. So, yes, I respect you. I understand what you're saying. I understand how you're feeling. I know that you want to be your own person. However, as your parent and as somebody who has gone through this kind of thing before, here's why you need to listen to me. Not just because. That's not going to cut it. As much as it should, as much as we want it to, it's just not going to cut it. And so that's why it's so critically important to find things that we can connect with our children on, spend time with them, have that commonality, that common interest, because that's the foundation that we can build on to improve our parental connection. Okay. So that's why I try to do so much stuff with my kids. And I mean, I get to spend time with them. It's wonderful, right? So anyway, I want you to think about that, especially if you've got kids that are entering the teen era. It's such an important thing to have that connection and be able to have the additional influence of a common bond in addition to being the parental bond. And that, really that's how I try to move my familial relationships to the third power. So I really love to hear your experiences, your, what you've done with your children. Please reply to this video. I'd love to hear what you're doing in your world and how that's worked out for you. All right. Well, until tomorrow, my friends. Thank you for listening to the Third Power Life podcast. Before you go, one quick question for you. Where are you on the path of life? Are you just drifting through your life? Are you fully in command, somewhere in between? Well, you can find out where you are now by taking my new Commander Survey. It will tell you where you are on your growth journey and how to move yourself to the next level. You can find the link on the screen or in the show notes. Now, all I want to know now is, where do you stand?